Hey, everybody. Let's get started. Thank you for having me after lunch. Hopefully, I don't bore you guys all to sleep. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael, one of the co-founders of Ollama. I've been working on Ollama for a while now, since Ollama's birthday on July 18, 2023. Before Ollama, I was part of Docker after they acquired my first company from my university. We then worked directly with the founder of Docker, Solomon Hykes, to create the early version of Docker Desktop, really in charge of the developer experience. Prior to that, I was at University Waterloo studying electrical engineering, and there I had the opportunity to intern at AMD twice. So I'm super excited to be back here with the AMD team. Today, I'm here to talk about Ollama, though. Ollama is the easiest way to get started running models both locally and in the cloud. As for just how easy, if I have to end this talk right now, just download Ollama, double-click to install it, or if you're on Linux, run the install scripts, open up the terminal and type in Ollama, run, and the model name. In this case, you can run Gemma 3 for their latest model. And you can start building with Ollama. That's it. That's kind of the gist of the talk. This works with all the Ollama's cloud models that we support too. So you can find all the models on ollama.com. OK, now I want to give you some background on Ollama and some of its features. We launched Ollama just a little over 2 years ago on July 18, 2023. And Ollama quickly became one of the fastest growing open source projects on GitHub. It is now #2 Golang project of all time by GitHub stars, behind Awesome Go, which is a listing of all the popular Go projects. And every day, I wake up super excited to see millions of developers download and use Ollama to run their favorite models. I was just looking up how many downloads Ollama has. And I'm happy to say we've just surpassed 100 million downloads of Ollama. It's pretty awesome. I thought the growth of containers, Docker, Kubernetes was really fast. But it's even more mind-boggling to see the pace that Ollama and other tools in this space are growing at. But what is Ollama? Ollama, in its simplest form, runs the models that you want and gives you, the builder, all the primitives needed to build your applications. Ollama is designed to fit within your development workflow. This starts from the CLI, the command line interface where you can simply download and try a model by typing in Ollama run and the model name. And Ollama in the background will go to ollama.com and download that model and run it on your device. This way, you can try the model and see if it's a fit, especially for your own use case. And this is before going through much deeper integrations. And for users who are ready, there's Ollama's API, the Python, JavaScript SDKs, and the OpenAI API compatibility, so you can start building applications using the way that you want. So how does Ollama work? We often start working with model creators ahead of the model release. They would start by sharing the architecture with us of the model, and that's usually in the form of random weights. We then go ahead and implement the model inside Ollama. It sounds very simple, but a lot of times, because of the different way that it's trained versus the devices that it's going to be run at, we have to oftentimes spend a lot of effort going back and forth, comparing the outputs or perplexity to make sure that the models are implemented correctly. And this is all usually in collaboration with all the model creators. Ollama then takes care of the memory management, how the model should be scheduled across different devices, the different model architectures that we support, and the different modalities. And this then all works on the supported backend. Currently, we are using a library called GGML. And this is the library we have been asking all of our hardware partners we work with to help support. And of course, in the future, as we've seen in the container world, oftentimes we see different operating systems and hardware companies come up with specific backends. And that's probably likely going to happen in this market as well. For the models on Ollama.com, under the library name, we work directly with all the model creators on how their model should be implemented and released to users. As part of some of the launches, I'm super proud and happy to collaborate and design custom illustrations. Here are some that I really enjoyed working on. If you are creating models, please reach out to me. I'd love to see how we can help and distribute your models across Ollama's 100 million users. Just supporting running the models don't get you to build on top of Ollama well. We have to enable the capabilities that work for any given model. So what are some of these capabilities? Like the ability for a model to pick up a tool and incorporate it inside its response. A good example of this is asking an LLM the current weather. The LLM is not going to be able to give you the weather of San Francisco today. But by giving the model the ability to pick up a tool, the model can then call a weather API and take its response and add it to the ultimate output of your application. There's also, for reasoning models that come on lately, we have the thinking and no thinking ability. So for models that have reasoning enabled, you can disable that for a faster output. And for users that want the thinking output, we also split it out in different outputs so you can filter it. It depends on your use case. For example, maybe you want to show users how the model is thinking, or you may merely want to use it for troubleshooting purposes as you build your application. There's also streaming responses that allow you to render the output as it's being produced by the model. Again, it helps bridge the different experiences, usually used for chatting models or code completion, et cetera, depending on your needs. There's also structured outputs, which lets you reinforce a JSON schema on the model response, so you can reliably extract structured data, describe images, or keep the reply consistent in the format that you ultimately want. Lastly, vision. A lot of the models now have vision support as newer modalities come for these models. And Ollama supports vision models to accept images, and so the model can describe, classify, and answer questions about what it sees. And it's safe to say we are working on adding different modalities inside Ollama, and with the hope that we will directly unlock more types of applications that users can build on top of Ollama. And part of what makes Ollama really powerful is its over 30,000 integrations on GitHub that developers have already built. And some of these include user interfaces like Open Web UI. It's a very popular project that's being used in many enterprises and businesses to just be a UI that's fronting the model. There's also N8N, which is a workflow automation tool that's supported by enterprises, and it has direct Ollama support built in. Coding tools are really popular lately. Ollama has a lot of integrations with many of the most popular coding tools. For example, Apple's Xcode, you can run locally hosted models directly and have Ollama integrated. Visual Studio Code Copilot has Ollama support as a first-class citizen. So for models that you download via Ollama, you can directly plug it in to Visual Studio Code and start using it for both chatting and code completion. OpenAI has Codex, and it doesn't just support GPT-5. Believe it or not, if you use --OSS, by default, it will pick up Ollama, and you can use the GPT-OSS models for code generation and usage. Dom will be demoing OpenAI's GPT-OSS models, and I think he has more to show there. But there are so many other integrations for coding tools. Some of the most popular ones, Cline, Continue, Droid, RuCode, Zed, they all have integrations with Ollama today. We don't want to stop there, though. For users that may not have enough compute, we are starting to offer in preview Ollama's Cloud. And what is Ollama's Cloud? Ollama's Cloud is for users who want to spend and speed up their model inference, and with the goal to use data center GPUs for offloading or hosting it for businesses and enterprise use cases. Every integration that you see working with Ollama locally will continue to work with Ollama's Cloud. And we've worked really hard to make sure it is privacy first, there's no data that's being retained, and it's designed to scale and run really fast. Best of all, it's free to get started. We have some models that's featured here for you to get started, and usually these are some of the ones that you just can't fit on a normal laptop. But if you go to ollama.com, the library, and pick cloud, you'll be able to select all the different cloud models that we support, and we're continuously adding more as we go about. So, what's next for Ollama? We've been listening to the community, and especially the AMD community, since I'm here. We just merged AMD's Vulkan support. We've been listening to the feedback here, and this is an area that I think will really accelerate inference for older GPUs and users who have GPUs from AMD in the past days. And now we will have proper support using Vulkan. Lastly, I'll leave with a case study. Many people tell us, why local? Why even support these local client devices? This is a study we did with Meta, and it was released just last week. The North Dakota Legislative Council is using 100% on-premises running on Ollama with Llama 3.2, and it has so far been used to summarize and review 1,000 draft bills. And they're estimating that they're saving their legal team over 25 hours per legislative session, and that it takes less than 6 minutes to summarize a draft bill and less than 5 seconds to summarize a smaller bill. And it's having a real impact that they're putting forth, where they're not willing to use cloud models. And that's it. I'll be hanging around. I have my laptop here for live demos for anybody who wants to see it. And come ask me any questions. Thank you.